Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, this video is my 10 essential tips for you to learn in the King of Fighters 15. For many people, the King of Fighters 15 will be their first ever King of Fighters game, and so I have done up these tips to help you understand a lot of the concepts in the game. Now, just so you know, this isn't a beginner's guide. If you want a proper beginner's guide, that'll be linked at the end of the video in a big playlist with lots of tech combos, guides, all the good stuff you'd want for the King of Fighters 15. But that all said, let's start with tip number 1. So our first tip has to do with health itself. Now, obviously enough, the more hits you take, the more damage you take, the lower your health goes. That's pretty basic. I don't got to tell you that, I suppose. But the thing is, being a 3-on-3 game, team game, but it's not a tag game, in between the rounds, as it were, you will heal your health. So look at Maya's health right now, and now that we conk Isla in the head, we're going to go up to the next character at bat for that team, and Maya is going to get some of her health back. There you go. As you can see, that's a decent chunk, so we're back in the green, as it were. And the thing is, it's not a set amount of health. Actually, the time has everything to do with it. So here we are at the start of a round, and Hydern's going to hit Maya with 5 standing heavy punches. And after these, Maya's going to try to beat him as fast as possible. Okay, so 44 seconds left on the clock here, and we took, a decent amount of damage. And now come up the next character. Let's see how much health we have. Oh, we got almost all of it back. Not quite 100%, but the majority of it back. Now, what we're going to do is recreate the exact same scenario. So we're going to apply the same amount of damage, but we're going to let the clock run a bit. And you're going to find out, well, she's not going to get the same amount of health back. So now Maya's going to win with less than 10 seconds on the clock. Once again, we took the exact same amount of damage, but now come the next character, we're going to see we're not going to get the same amount of health back. In fact, comparatively, we barely got any health back. We still did get health back, so that's good, but not as much. How much health you get back is effectively tied to how fast you won your round. So effectively, you're heavily incentivized to win quick. And conversely, say you're on a character with very little health left, right? And maybe you don't have confidence you can take the character. Then at which point you're incentivized to waste time. Make it harder and longer for them to kill you, because the longer it takes for them to kill you, the less health that character is going to get back. So basically, steamrolling an opponent means the point character, the character that's doing all the damage, will get more and more health back, and effectively they're in the fight for much longer than they normally would be. Now, another very important thing to know is something you might have to unlearn a little bit from other fighting games is jumping and the timing you need on jumps. Like, yeah, I know you want to get the cool jumping combo, all that kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, unlike, say, a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, you're trying to hit them at the absolute tip of the jumping, right? Like, that's what you're aiming for, and then you land, and then you do your combo. Doesn't work that way in this game. Like, sure, yes, you can hit them at the top of the jump, but that means you won't get a combo. You actually have to be quite a bit lower to the ground. Jumps don't have a lot of hit stun in this game. Like, the blowback attack from being hit by a jump, they can actually recover very quickly. So when you're trying to do a jump in and trying to get a combo after the fact, you have to wait a little bit. You have to give them a little bit of time to breathe, because otherwise, this stuff would be instant, right? Because there's so many kinds of jumps in King of Fighters. Like, that's a jump in you could never react to. But that's fine, because that's allowed in this game, but you're not going to get rewarded with a combo for it. That you have to wait and jump in just a little bit deeper. And keep in mind also, a lot of jumps in King of Fighters, specifically, the purpose isn't to get the big combo. Like, yeah, if you want to get it, you delay it. But sometimes a jump can just be a poke. It doesn't have to be anything more. Street Fighter mindset, if you play a lot of Street Fighter, the jump in is always for like the home run swing. You're rolling big, hope you don't get anti-aired, and if you get it, then you get the big reward. King of Fighters, jump's just another attack. Sometimes, if you do it deep enough, and close enough, you can get your combo rewards. Even there, I should have delayed a little bit longer, right? But yeah, it's just a core concept. The jump isn't always the home run swing. And if you want it to be, then you have to hit your jump in as deep as possible. So now to talk max mode briefly. So max mode is the big mode that makes a lot of things easier for you, right? It always takes 2 bars no matter what. If you activate it raw, you get a raw power boost. So like that does 87. Normally That would only do 70, right? So pretty big power boost. And if you do it in combos, you'll stop and automatically run forward and get new combo opportunities, although at the cost of a shorter bar. But one of the big things is this. 1, max mode makes all EX moves free. It only costs meter. It also makes all level 1 supers free. It only costs meter. If you want to do a level 2 super, it'll also cost meter, and I'll discount it by 1 bar. So normally it'd be 2 bars, it would be now 1 bar. And one of the biggest things here is it makes a level 3 super also discounted, but even heavily more so because it still only costs 1 bar. So now your level 3 super only costs 1 meter. So now, with the funness of math, right? That means if you spent 2 meters on your max mode, got all the associated bonuses, and then go for your level 3, you only spent 1 more bar, so you're still only spending 3 bars, and you just get a lot of extra bonuses. So not every character in the game likes max mode, right? Not everyone wants to do it, some want to do it more than others. But there are times where if you know you're going to do whatever you're going to do, and you're going to end in your level 3 anyways, then sometimes max mode is what you should be doing, just even if it only gives you just even a little bit more damage. So let me give you an example. So in the corner here, King of Dinosaurs, if I do the X Claw, it's always going to wall bounce. And always gives me a true hard knockdown, which is great because his level 3 super works off true hard knockdowns. So that's good. So say we're knowing we're going for a combo aiming for this anyways. Something like this. So pretty basic, right? And we go for level 3 because we have enough meter. So overall, this costs us 3.5 bars, and in total, we'll get, gotta wait for the finish here, 562 damage. Now, exact same scenario. We're gonna do the same starter, and I'm not going for EX Claw unless I know I'm getting the hit, right? So I'm hit confirming this. So with this scenario now, I will go max mode instead. So we got a couple extra hits in, not a really big deal, just a couple extra hits. And now we still get the same ender here. But the thing is, we only spent 3 bars instead of the 3.5 from before. And also, our combo did just a little bit more damage. Not a lot more, but just a little bit more. But still, we saved on resource and we got more damage. And that's basically a strictly better scenario all around. So just keep in mind, the max mode discounts, even if you're on a character that doesn't necessarily care about max mode too much, can be really helpful. Now, in the King of Fighters, grabs and throws are very, very, very strong. Much more so than other fighting games. So, at the most basic level, the basic throw everybody in the game has, these are all frame 1. This means the frame of animation you hit the button is the frame you get thrown. So this is universal across the board before you even get to the crazier stuff. And the crazier stuff has frame 1 command grabs, it has armored grabs, it has fully invincible grabs, so you can get pretty crazy. But everybody in this game is capable of a frame 1 throw. That means teching a throw is you making a read, basically, for the most part. Because you cannot react in a singular frame of animation to tech a throw. This also means throws are a very powerful defensive option. Because if you try to meaty someone on their wake up, they can just spam the button and try to throw you instead. And throws happen on frame 1. And for the most part, throws beat attacks if they connect on the same frame. So when you're attacking someone on their wake up, try to be either a little further out so you're not immediately thrown, or attack from the air where you cannot be thrown. Just is very, very powerful on defense. Also, keep in mind, since all throws are done by a direction and a button press, that means if the throw doesn't come out, well, then you just get the actual attack. So that was forward and heavy kick, and for whatever reason, if I don't get the throw, I just get the heavy kick. So it basically automatically option selects itself. So throws across the board are very strong on the basics level, let alone all the crazy command grabs and all that kind of stuff in the game, because there's a lot of good ones and they're all very, very, very scary. Now, directly going from our last tip about throws being strong, there's also what we call throw protection. So anytime after you get up or block a move, you cannot be thrown for a few frames. This is specifically because throws are so strong, this is to give you a chance to not get blown up by him. So as you can see here, Clark, we're going for our grab here as Leona gets up, and it just clear goes through her. And Clark's command grab also starts on the first possible frame of animation. And when you block, you also cannot be thrown immediately either. So In those situations, just keep in mind you have a little bit working for you in defense. Now, some grabs are delayed grabs. They don't happen right away. And those grabs, they can still hit you because they wait longer than the throw invincibility period, either when you block or get up. So watch out for those, although those are pretty rare. Not too many characters have them. But yeah, throws, everyone has frame 1 grabs. About half the cast has command grabs. Throws are a very big part of this game, so just be aware you do have a little bit of built-in defense. Now, King of Fighters can have some complex motions. Thankfully, the game works on multiple levels to make the motions work for you. Like say our super move for Dolores. It's double quarter circle forward and one of the punches, and big old rocket launch, right? And you can special cancel it from certain moves, and we can use the motions. So let's say we do something basic combo here, and do our quarter circle forward light punch special. So this is a little bit of a stalactite hitting you. And that move can go into the super. Now, thankfully, this move is quarter circle forward, right? And our super is quarter circle forward. So instead of doing 1 quarter circle forward, then 2 more quarter circle forward for the super, the input buffer only cares that they're happening, right? So we can just do quarter circle forward button for the special, and quarter circle forward button for the super. So we didn't have to waste our time doing extra motions, and it gets a lot more advanced than this. Someone like Ryo, he has a super move, quarter circle forward, half circle back, and then punch. And then he does a whole big flurry of punches and kicks, right? And a common way to combo into the super is from his uppercut. And his uppercut already has the forward, down, down, forward motion you need for the uppercut. And as far as the input buffer is concerned, that is all the things you need for the first quarter circle forward of his super. So if you want to combo the uppercut into the super move, you just do the uppercut and then do half circle back and then the punch, because the first quarter circle forward is the uppercut. And there you go. So you didn't have to do the uppercut and then the full entire motion, because that's almost impossible unless you have like lightning hands, right? You can use the inputs to work together. Here's another example. I'm putting all this together at like a bigger level, right? And this is Hydern specific, and you're going to bang your head into the wall real hard if you try the Hydern trials, because this is expected of you. So Hydern, same deal. He has a move that is a dragon punch motion. So quarter circle forward and any punch, right? And he has a super move that is quarter circle back, then half circle forward and kick. And then basically hits you with tons of explosions. And the game and trials, it wants you to do this dragon punch motion, then quarter circle back, and then half circle forward. Now, realistically, like this motion is like, you're like churning butter. It's so crazy and difficult. But thankfully, once again, there's shortcuts around this. Here's me trying to do this the honest way. And I get my super and it doesn't connect. I'm simply too slow. The only way the super connects is if you do it as fast as possible, and doing it the honest way is almost not humanly possible for the most part. But thankfully, here's where input tricks come into play. So once again, our motion is the dragon punch. So forward, down, down, forward. And that gives us our little finger gun here. So forward, down, down, forward. And what we want to do now is we want to trick that part. The super part, we're going to play somewhat honest. This is the part we're tricking. So what we're doing here is a half circle back. So forward, down, down, back, back, right? And then we're hitting forward right afterwards. So half circle back, forward, and punch. And when you know it, that, as far as the game is concerned, has all the constituent parts of a dragon punch motion. Like, you're adding a lot of extra inputs you don't need, but as far as the game's concerned, that's good. You're adding parts you don't need for the initial dragon punch motion, but you are adding the parts you need for the super move. Once again, that super move is quarter circle back, half circle forward, right? So doing this weird motion here for your dragon punch motion, it takes care of all of the quarter circle back part of the move. So at which point now, all we have to do is do another quarter circle forward and kick, and then we get it. And there you go. So that's like frame one, basically, as fast as possible it can come out. So one more time, just to explain it. The half circle back and forward dragon punch gives us the actual dragon punch itself, the motion and the move we need. And because we're doing the big motion here, the half circle back, it has all the parts of quarter circle forward. It has a lot of the parts of half circle forward, as far as the game's concerned anyways, right? So at which point we only need another quarter circle forward, and then we get everything we need. I know it sounds really complex, but basically you can butcher the game's motions in such a way that it'll accept just about anything. Things that look very hard on paper can be made very, very easy. A quick important concept to know in the King of Fighters franchise is your fastest moves, you probably assume always, and usually in most fighting games very fairly, your fastest moves are like, your crouch light punch or crouch light kick or light, just your lights in general, right? And in a lot of the cases, yeah, sometimes they are, but in the King of Fighters specifically, a lot of characters either have tied for their fastest move, sometimes their fastest move, period, as close heavies. I know that sounds a little counterproductive, right? For a lot of characters, the normal standing or crouching heavies are definitely slower than the lights. But the thing is, when you get up close, the close heavies get wickedly faster than their normal far counterparts. Like going by a King of Fighters 14 example, because we don't have all the frame data for this game just yet, but Andy, he has 2 fastest moves and they're tied. Crouch, light punch, which is 4-frame startup, and close heavy punch, which is 4-frame startup. So if you're just screaming at each other and mashing and all that kind of stuff, generally speaking, the close heavy is going to be better almost every time. It has good hit confirm properties, has more damage, leads to better damage, better combos, all that kind of stuff. And is just superior in a situation where you're just both in each other's face. So keep in mind, basically, that close, heavy attacks, while already very important in this game for combo structure and all that kind of stuff, are also some of, if not the outright fastest attacks for a lot of the characters in the game. Now, understanding guard points. If you just want to say their armor, like other fighting games, like you wouldn't be too far off. 9 times out of 10, it's effectively the same difference, right? One of the key things here is a guard point never ever takes damage. A lot of times in fighting games, either you take a little bit of damage or like recoverable health or just something. In this game, a guard point is effectively like you blocked the move and you still blow through it and hit the enemy. Not everyone has guard points. If you thought the big beefy characters have them, you'd be correct. Although a lot of characters have guard points on oddball moves, so they're not uncommon at all, and certainly are a lot more spaced around than just the big characters. Although, now to be fair, some of the bigger characters definitely have more guard points than others, let's put it that way, right? It's a lot more than just taking a hit, though. Guard points versus fireballs, for example, they just dissipate fireballs. Like, it doesn't clash, it doesn't bounce off, there's no special effect, it just deletes them, basically. So having a move that has a guard point, you can just basically not deal with fireballs. Because normally fireballs, okay, I got to give up space or, roll around it, which has its own problems, right? So with this, you can just kind of stand your ground and say, nah, I don't feel like dealing with this. Now, here's another big thing, multi-hitting fireballs. So in a lot of games, a multi-hitting move easily defeats an armored attack. It armors the first hit and then gets hit by the other hits. Not so much this game. Because here, once again, 3 hits, right? EX Fireball for Athena, and you can just go, nah, it just deletes the whole thing. It doesn't deal with multiple hits at all. It just deletes the whole thing. Now, multi-hitting moves is a little different, because you can still, as you can see here, guard point through them, right? But it's a little inconsistent, as the attack keeps going through frame by frame, and eventually it will run out of guard point frames. Sometimes you get the clean hit like that, and sometimes you whiff and you get hit. Or sometimes you trade or just get beat clean, right? It can be a little inconsistent against multiple hit moves, so you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, guard points very strong, effectively better than armor in most fighting games. Now to speak on counter hits for a moment here. Counter hits also, big deal in a fighting game, right? Like even something as basic as this, we have counter hit turned on. So our basic jab does 31 damage with counter hit, without counter hit, does 25, right? So across the board, whatever hits in a counter hit, you get a damage buff. So in and of itself, it's always good, and you're happy to have it. The thing is, counter hits can change properties of how things work. One universal change is jump CD. So jump CD, that's your power attack. If it hits as a counter hit, the move now has juggle property no matter what. So as you can see here, now we can like juggle them in the air, or we can go for something a little bit more, damaging or whatever, right? This normally doesn't work that way. So using Maxima as our example here, even if it's like far away, normally, Maxima is not exactly a character with a lot of range, right? And then all of a sudden, oh, I got it, cool. Get my EX grab on, corner carry, get a little bit extra damage, right? So it's always very helpful to get that. And everyone in the game can make conversions off their jumping CD. It just depends character to character. Some people get different options. But in the corner, at the bare minimum, everyone gets some pretty decent stuff. Also, there's a technique called the counter wire. Now, it hasn't been called counter wire in like 20 years maybe or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. But basically, it's like a crush counter or something in Street Fighter. Some moves are keyed to have special properties if they get the counter hit. So counter hit is turned off right now. This is Maximus Heavy Vapor Cannon. It's just a big old smack to your face. Already pretty good, right? Now, if we have counter hit turned on and he hits with it, this becomes a wall bounce. So suffice to say, you can get combo potential from something like this. Even if it's something as basic as that, that's still a hell of a lot of damage. And if you happen to really be on the ball and prepared, and you have resources to burn or something, like, this can be titanic, right? This can be game-changing to get the counter hit off this one singular move. So this concept is pretty rare now in this game. Not many moves have the counter wire property, like just extra effect on counter hit, but still, the moves that have them, they're great. Now, our final tip is to talk whiff canceling / empty canceling. So what I'm talking about is something like this. Like, say Robert has a sweep. And Robert, and the sweep is special cancelable, right? So I can sweep, go into fireball. It doesn't actually combo, but whatever. It's not the point. If they blocked, then I would get the fireball and I'm safe. However, the thing is, the move, even if it doesn't connect on anything, I can still cancel into the fireball. Now, not every character in the game can necessarily do this one. And other characters have different moves that they can whiff and cancel in the special move regardless if it hits or not. But it's pretty handy to have. Now, one that is universal is your power attack, your CD. So CD, you can cancel the beginning of it, the empty cancel, and it'll go into whatever move you want it to do. And this is effectively carrot canceling your moves. So if I want to throw fireballs all day long, like if I want to walk forward and throw a fireball, the problem is if I walk forward and throw a fireball, I might get the uppercut, right? Because I'm hitting forward, then fireball, that has all the inputs of an uppercut. Therefore, I get the uppercut, not my fireball. But by whiffing your power attack and then going into fireball, you now create moving forward fireballs that you don't have to deal with it. And this is applicable for like all special moves. Anything you want to do, you can just get a little bit more range. It doesn't matter how big they are, like Antonov. It doesn't matter how like maybe nebulously useful it might be, right? It could be bad. It doesn't necessarily have to be good. And maybe you don't get a lot of use out of it. But still, if you want to do a power attack and then any special move, it'll give you just a little bit more range across the board. And those are 10 essential tips to learn in the King of Fighters 15. If you're looking for more videos, guides, combos, tutorials, whatever, this channel has them. Check the playlist linked at the end of this video because it'll have a lot of good stuff for you to learn. If you could drop a like on the video, it'd be incredibly helpful. It helps the channel, it helps the video, it helps everything. And otherwise, well, that's about it for the video. I love this game. I think it's a great game. If it's your first time in King of Fighters, you're in for a treat because it's one of the best fighting game franchises ever made. And otherwise, well, that's it for the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some King of Fighters.